right, if loving you is wrong fans, first of all, I'm actually proud of myself because I'm waiting for the day I'm recording and if loving you is wrong video and I say all right, have and have not fans or vice versa. But for the time being, this video is a bit late due to power outages, heavy winds, and of course all the eBay stuff I need to get ready to ship off. So I promise my episode reviews for If Loving You Is Wrong will always be at the very latest, sometime around Thursday afternoon, if not Thursday morning, depending on real life things that happen in life, that prevent me from getting these out quicker. But The Red Dress, episode 2, not gonna lie, pretty solid episode. Pretty solid episode. I'm debating about giving it a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. Like, it wasn't bad. Maybe it's the fact that If Loving You Was Wrong doesn't have quite a high bar to set, so I'm not as hard on my reviews for it as opposed to the haves and have-nots, which a heavy, and I mean, well, excuse me, not heavy, but a very high number of fans agree that the finale was not very good at all, and that will be its own video. But moving into The Red Dress, just kind of looking over the notes here, guys, pretty straightforward stuff. We have, and in no particular order here because it's going to be all over the place, Randall observes Tanya's OCD with her constant checking of her mailbox, saying this will be fun. So pretty much we know that Randall has marked Tanya, oh, sorry, my chair's creaking, marked Tanya as a new target for his affections, if you will. I don't even know what you want to call it, but apparently he's into, the little crazy bit. Maybe it's because he's a psychiatrist and whatnot, so he has a kink for these things. I don't know. But Randall's taking a moment, just kind of calling everyone, trying to reach Larry, saying he plans to go to the office if he doesn't answer him right now. Then he actually goes ahead to, he's like, what, y'all should know me by now, which they honestly should. Then he calls Larry's phone directly. Then he actually calls the cops for like, what, the 7th time, saying he doesn't want anyone from Steven or Lucian, and especially not Eddie, but pretty much some real cops. And from there you have the, oh my gosh, Eddie shows up. I'm sorry, we actually need to pick up with this first. Eddie pretty much, getting confirmation that he didn't tell the truth about Kelly being dead. But I think aside from him lying, which is something we all expect him to do, everybody and their mother can't stop talking about the fact that Eddie just casually strolled through the police station with a 40. Honestly, that's the biggest takeaway from that entire scene, when Steven comes up and actually, confirms that, yeah, she's in the infirmary, man. She ain't dead. So pretty much, Eddie just being an asshole the entire time. And then the woman comes in there. What's his name? What was his name? I forgot her name, but basically comes in there saying that Randall has been calling so many times. He doesn't want Lucian, Steven, or Randall. I mean, excuse me, Lucian, Steven, or Eddie. I believe his name is Rick and some other white guy. I don't know his name. Was it Duncan? Was it Duncan? I don't know. Basically, they go over to Randall's house. Not much to talk about here. Randall just goes on about how Brad should be the one that's arrested. But when he said, yeah, you go over there, arrest him, and then clink, clink, lock with the handcuffs. All I could think about was Medea, clink, clink, put on lockdown. And it goes back to what I said in my episode preview for The Red Dress. Randall being Randall, all the cameras and everything. I think it would have been smarter if he would have checked his cameras first to confirm it was Brad. I mean, not to say that he doesn't hate Brad already, but yeah, Brad got arrested for something he didn't commit when it was actually Marcy, then yeah, you kind of screwed the pooch there. And plus, it would have been cool to see the camera. So as an audience, we would have seen Marcy approach the shed, set it on fire, put the bar in the door handle so it couldn't open. I think that would have been pretty cool, but we didn't get to see that, unfortunately. Then from there, Randall kicks him out of the house. That was a pretty funny scene. But other than that, we go back to Marcy's place. Looks like her and Brad get there, kind of recount the events of what's happened. And I'm not an expert on this, but I'm not sure a woman who just had a miscarriage is supposed to be smoking and drinking like that. And every time Marcy was talking and saying she needed something stronger than water, what was she drinking? Straight vodka. All I got were Veronica vibes, aside from setting things on fire, being vindictive towards the husband, or in this case, ex-husband. Well, yeah, in Veronica's case, ex-husband as well. And then drinking and smoking her problems away. and pretty much trying to find comfort in the arms of another man. But in terms of Veronica, she's more into the boys than men. Not to say that she doesn't want a man, but she isn't against playing the cougar in these situations. But basically, Marcy gets a phone call stating that, you know, she needs to go see Ian in order to get the keys to his house. And, you know, Brad is concerned because she's been drinking, but she's going to drive and come back. Turns out she actually has the hard drive. But something interesting to note is the fact that Brad said, that's good, we need to destroy it. And then when Marcy leaves, he kind of just looks at the hard drive without doing anything. Maybe he destroyed it off camera. Maybe he actually kept it. Who knows? But Marcy pretty much plans to say, hey, Brad, use your connections, find someone to kill him. And Brad pretty much calls her out on it. It's like, look, you're just speaking out of anger when you don't really want him dead. But to be honest, you know, there are a lot of characters on the haves and the have-nots or loving you is wrong that it would make a lot of people's lives easier if they were killed off. But kind of like Batman refusing to kill and other superheroes, you need the villains in order to keep the story going, even though they really don't receive the comeuppance they really deserve. Because what did being trapped in the shed and set on fire do for Randall? All it did was piss him off, you know? So I don't really see the good in it, but, you know, it wasn't Marcy's fault that the next door neighbors who just moved in happened to be a firefighter. So yeah. And plus, even if Marcy never went over there or acted crazy in front of her own house, I'm pretty sure Bennett would have rushed over there regardless, being a firefighter. But then we get to, let's see. Yeah, that's right. Kelly's handcuffed to the bed. Turns out she's actually alive. And to be honest, I'm hearing and seeing the same kind of comments and feedback from people. Oh, she's a bad actress, or I wish Kelly would have died. Or honestly, I don't think I saw a lot of people saying that I wish she were dead. I did see a few, but not a lot. I think for me, it's like I'm really feeling the weight of her character now. It makes more sense to me binging the show and watching it on a regular basis. The fact that Kelly definitely has, for one, been through a lot, but at the same time, it's like, how did a shoelace actually hold her body enough for her to hang herself? What kind of shoelace was that? I don't know. Crazier things in this show has happened. Kind of like Bennett being able to open the shed door with his bare hands, even though the bar should have been hot as I don't know what. But Lucian comes in, pretty much pulls a Benny. I mean, this entire scene was kind of like a recreation of, you know, Benny and Hannah showing Candace photos of Quincy Jr. And that pretty much, you know, makes her upset, but they use it as a way to strengthen her resolve in order to snap out of this reckless state that this self-destructive state that she's in order to live for their, you know, their respective sons. And, you know, Lucian's just there to just reassure Kelly that everything's going to be all right. I mean, really nothing much to take away from this scene. Not to say it was a bad scene, but the thing about watching If Loving You Is Wrong, being an addict of the haves and have-nots, is the fact that it is hard not to compare scenes. It's almost like, you know, in college or in high school or whatever, let's say you have a English 101 class, and then the next semester you have English 102, and the final project's pretty much the same thing except maybe a little bit longer in the 102 class. So you take the 101 paper, Frankenstein it a bit, add a little bit more to it, and then turning it into the English 102 class. That's kind of what I think Tyler Perry does with Loving You Is Wrong, where I wish the show was a bit more diverse in regards to the storylines, because it's hard not to compare to the haves and the have-nots while saying, hey, I remember so-and-so did that in the haves and the have-nots, or, you know, oh, I remember a man did it in the haves and the have-nots, but they got a woman in this role now. Not to say that it's bad. It's just one of those things that it's hard to not notice. I guess it's the best way to put it. Let's see. Then we have Natalie and Esperanza. And Esperanza was probably one of my least favorite characters in the episode. And this goes back to a lot of people like, how can you love Alex? But, and I know that's a terrible impression, but, you know, people's voices, I don't know. I only read comments. How can you love Alex when you got finer women like Esperanza and whatnot? My attitude is this, and I'll elaborate that more in my Why Do I Love Alex So Much video. A character can be very attractive, you know, on the eyes, have a great body and whatnot. But in terms of their character in a show, movie, or series, that's what determines their attractive level to me. Here's an example. If you grew up watching Disney and whatnot, Ashley Tisdale, you have the diva, singer and whatnot, the performer, the popular girl in the High School Musical movie, Sharpay Evans, I believe is the name. But then you have the humble, intelligent, kind-hearted Maddie from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Same actress, obviously different attire, if you will, where in High School Musical it's flashy, she's from a rich family and whatnot, but she has an ugly personality and attitude. Maddie is more of a, I guess you could say, conservative, worker. She works at the hotel, I think at the concession part of the hotel lobby where you can buy snacks and whatnot. And I like her. I find her more attractive as Maddie as opposed to Sharpay Evans. So the same thing with Esperanza, where she's very fine, very attractive, but her personality makes her unattractive to me. Being, well, a bit too nosy, almost as much. I need to give these characters nicknames like Nosy Natalie. I'll think of something for the next video. But Esperanza is just like, she just gets on everyone's case, but she obviously doesn't address her own issues. For example, she gets on Rick's case later at the bar that night about not doing everything he could to help Kelly out, and I'm just like, for real? Like, you're really going to put this on him and make him feel bad? And then when she's talking with Natalie, and I get it, I think Esperanza in this scene was supposed to be the person who doesn't understand how anyone can attempt to take their own life. Because when Natalie talks about the whole suicide thing and Justice not knowing for obvious reasons, because, well, how could she tell him? She pretty much, I can't believe, I don't even know why she would do something like this. And I'm like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, you got that boy. And I'm like, well, you got to think Kelly has been through a lot, not to undermine things that Esperanza has been through, but in a lot of cases Esperanza puts herself in those situations by going after the bad boys, the one who deal drugs and the roughnecks and whatnot. Kelly, on the other hand, it's like her situation is a bit different. I think obviously she kind of got into the situation by opening the door, following Natalie's advice to get the gun and everything like that, but Travis was literally destroying her life from taking out loans, stalking her and everything. Esperanza, on the other hand, is kind of like, well, her being in jail, and if I'm not mistaken, Esperanza saw her in the cell a few times, and she knew she wasn't doing well. So I get the role Esperanza was trying to portray in that particular scene, but I really didn't like it. That's just me. Then they go up to check on Alex and recap, everything after the fire. Once again, the character's personality shine through for better or worse. Esperanza trying to reassure people, but Natalie pretty much, not sugarcoating anything. Like, it is Alex's fault that things happen. So, honestly, nothing much to say about that. Then we have good old Bennett. And the way Alex was looking at Bennett, I tell you what, man. I tell you what, she got hard eyes for this guy. And that leads me to the other situation. I mean, Tanya comes up, says, you're about to be late for work. And then the women scoff at the fact that, oh man, she has her eyes on her husband, or maybe has her eyes on us. But we get more information about the DNA test, and guys, I think it is plain to say that Alex is lying. But then again, that's not an uncommon phrase for this character. I have no doubt in my mind that she's been sleeping around with other men aside from Randall behind Brad's back, just because a lie is nothing for her to tell. She tells, honestly, even though I'm a YouTuber and I review these shows, I don't have enough time in the day to do a tally of every lie that Alex is told. I mean, it's hard to tell who lies more, Candace or Alex. Dang, that would be quite the contest. But yeah, just the way they keep dancing around the who's the daddy thing. I think even Eddie talked about it to Brad last week. Well, I lied about the doctor mixing up the DNA results, and then I lied about this and that. But then again, why not just do a retest? There is a chance, a very rare chance, that those results come back, inaccurate. So maybe they will take another test, but then again, she doesn't want to have anything to do with Randall right now. But there are so many theories about the baby being swapped. What if Brad or Alex have black people, in their family line somewhere, and then the genes kicked in, and then the baby's actually Brad's? There are so many ways to go through this, but that will be its own separate video. Like I said, the Derek and Alex baby daddy videos are the big ones I'm doing this weekend, so be on the lookout for those. And let's see. Yeah, that's pretty. I know I jumped all over the place, but oh, I guess the last thing to talk about is at the bar. Basically, Duncan's calling Eddie, pretty much saying that Esperanza's there talking with Rick and Steven. Um, and I mean, yeah, Esperanza just playing her games, if you will, talking about how, well, I set the rules, but Steven doesn't want to play any games, and then he leaves with a girl. I forgot her name, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it was a good scene because I believe this is like the first time we saw this bar, or at least my first time. And the atmosphere is a bit different. Esperanza just going off on Rick's case and her being upset, claiming she came down there just to get a drink when, we all know you came there for Steven. And things didn't really heat up until Eddie showed up. And, oh man, pretty much took the dude's beer, smashed it upside his head. I mean, again, you really talking have and have nots here when Jeffrey has busted a few people upside the head with bottles. So yeah, it's not uncommon. And then they get into the bar fight. Then now's the end of the episode. So yeah, overall, I think a 8 out of 10 is a solid score. Yeah, this is a fair score for the episode. Wasn't bad. I think it was just a normal If Loving You Is Wrong episode, but I will be doing that separate video. This isn't the video I'm going to talk about it in, but I do have 3 $10 Walmart cards. I will probably do a video this weekend, just kind of going over the Haves and Have Not finale versus the If Loving You Is Wrong's 2-night premiere, and kind of comparing both of them and which one I feel is better. In my opinion, I think If Loving You Is Wrong won. And no, you're probably thinking, well, Jeremy, that had a 2-night event, while the Haves and the Have-Nots is only 1 finale. True, but once I get into more detail, you'll see why I feel like If Loving You Is Wrong's victory, in my opinion, is actually valid. And probably what I'll do in the comment section is like, hey, for the next 48 hours, comment your thoughts on which one you think is better. Even if you disagree with me, that's completely fine. I'll pick the 3 best comments that I feel are great, and then those 3 people will win $10 gift cards. So I'll do that in its own separate video. But with that being said, do you agree with my score of 8 out of 10? Because I do believe that I gave Let It Burn at 8.5. Because I think that episode just had a little bit more. But with that being said, once again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the bell notification icon. That way you don't miss out on any new videos. Comment your thoughts, and I hope everyone has a great night. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you just saw, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, or if you have anything you would like to add to the video, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to keep up with me on social media, go to the description box. All of my links for social media are right there. Also, if you feel like you would like to donate to the channel, make sure to click on the link to PayPal. Any amount helps. $1, $5, $20. As a full-time YouTuber, any support from my fans really does mean a lot to me. Finally, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. That way you're kept up to date on any new content I post to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next video.